What up, is Marcus Dynasty? We're going to be talking about the top 4 quarterbacks in the Dynasty rookie class of 2023. Let me know what your rankings are in order 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can kind of give a little bit of a consensus what people are thinking before the draft. We haven't hit landing spots. We have an idea of maybe where some of these players are going to go. If I had a crystal ball, I would say that CJ Stroud's going to go to the Panthers, Bryce Young, Houston, and then it's going to be tough, but I'm just going to say right now, Colts take Anthony Richardson, Raiders take Will Levis. But this is one of the hardest situations. When we had a couple of years back, we had the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson group. I felt like it was a little bit easier of a group to sort out. I thought Trevor Lawrence was the easy 1. Zach Wilson was the easy 4. And then Justin Fields and Trey Lance were pretty close to each other. I had Fields, then Lance. If you don't believe me, go back 2 years. You'll find that video. It's still on YouTube. I don't take anything down. And so we have to look at this class as being a very difficult class to determine because Bryce Young was a majority of people's number 1. The size, which he is not shrunk or anything like that. It's just that everyone is now starting to look at more and concerned about the size. It's like the guy has succeeded at the college level, even with his 5'10", 200-pound frame. And then now they've almost transferred to CJ Stroud, which I've heard a lot of experts get to CJ Stroud. And then all of a sudden, boom, the combine happens and everyone flips to Anthony Richardson being this just absolutely stud in spandex, basically. So we have to look and figure out which one of these 3. Will Levis has kind of been the number 4. Sorry, Will Levis, you're number 4. He's had some comps to Josh Allen and stuff. I don't necessarily see that aspect of him, but what order are we having these quarterbacks? And right now, Bryce Young is going to be my number 1, barely, barely. 5'10", 204, I believe that he is the safest quarterback. There are situations, though, that I would rather have Anthony Richardson over Bryce Young. And so let's talk about these situations because Anthony Richardson's kind of moved slightly into that number 2. So we got 1A, 1B, 1C, and Will Levis is 4. CJ Stroud is my 1C right now. You could make an argument for each one, but let's see what the negatives are. See, for Anthony Richardson, it is that he is absolutely athletically gifted, 4'4", 40, bigger than Cam Newton, faster than Justin Fields, faster than all the defensive ends that you think about, can throw the ball 75 yards. Does that translate onto the football field? Can he actually make progression throws, and can he be on the field long enough? And that's the biggest key, because if he's on the field, he's going to have fantasy football production. A team is going to draft him high, but with those athletically gifted things, can he actually process an offense? And that is what he had an absolute struggle with in his 1 year at Florida. So we have to look and say, hey, can he make improvements? If he can make improvements, this is an absolute steal. But like I have said, his floor is that he's playing tight end in 2 years. His ceiling is he's the quarterback 1 in Dynasty fantasy football. There is so much there's so much volatility in between. Bryce Young, I feel like his floor is like QB 18. His ceiling is like QB 5 or 6. Like, you have a window. CJ Stroud, even a little bit more volatility there. And then Anthony Richardson is literally sky. It's literally heaven and hell. You are talking about, it is crazy the difference with Anthony Richardson. So here are some situations where I would draft Anthony Richardson over CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. Situation number 1. I have multiple early first-round picks. When you have multiple early first-round picks, especially, we can talk more about the rebuild situation, but if you have multiple first-round picks, you are able to, unfortunately, gamble a little bit more, and you're able to, if Anthony Richardson does turn into a bust, and let's say you have 102 and 104 and 106, or 102, 104, and 109, well, that 104, you can take the leftover of Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and it's not going to be a huge dip, again, 1A to 1C, and I would rather take the Anthony Richardson at 102, take that boom type of player, versus taking Bryce Young at 102 and then getting Stroud at 104. It's like, I want that boom player. I want that player that's going to transcend my Dynasty roster. That is what I'm looking for, and the number 2 option is if you are in a huge rebuild where you're like, I need something. You have to understand that this is a huge gamble. that if you miss on Anthony Richardson, you are going to be stuck in the hole a lot longer than you want to be. Like, you might be in rebuild for another extra year because of the Anthony Richardson miss. But there is a good quarterback class coming out in 2024 too, so just know that. And so Anthony Richardson is one of those players that if you're in a huge rebuild, that is something that if you are willing to gamble, that it is a potential worthwhile gamble. Yeah, it is, again, you are talking about so much volatility. It's fun talking about Anthony Richardson because I like these prospects. I like these prospects because it is the type of prospects that will literally change a team or destroy a team. And honestly, that's kind of fun. When you have a quarterback and a high draft capital like that, like these types of picks can either bomb or make a team. And I love it. So Bijan is still going to be our 101 in Superflex no matter what. No matter what, Anthony Richardson is going to be into that 102 to 104.5 range, depending on where he goes, unless he gets into that Malik Willis just NFL draft day fall. But there is definitely a hard situation. So right now, again, 101, or sorry, not 101, by quarterback one, Bryce Young barely. And I mean, Anthony Richardson is just chomping at the heels. He was a third quarterback, and then he just kind of ate Stroud, and now he's at number 2, or 1B as you can call it. Stroud is 1C. Will Levis is my number 4 quarterback. And then we have Hendon Hooker at 5, and we can keep going on and on. But, like, those are the top 4 quarterbacks, and I feel like there's going to be 4 quarterbacks drafted in the top 10 picks. I've said that since, gosh, I don't know, December, January, something like that. But I thought 4 quarterbacks were being taken in the top 10, and everyone kind of was like, no, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, they won't be picked. They'll probably be falling. And now it's like all the mocks say that they're going to be potentially top 6, 7 picks. So I think the draft capital, when you have a top 10 quarterback in Superflex, you have to take it. There is some concerns about Jahmyr Gibbs' weight. I know that we're not big weight people or I should say we're big weight people. We don't have, it's not going to shift our thing a ton, size and weight. Like, I feel like everyone wants to put somebody in a perfect category of like, yeah, we want a running back that's 5'11", 215 pounds. Not everyone's going to be 5'11", 215 pounds. Jahmyr Gibbs has the size of Jamal Charles. He also has the size of CJ Spiller. Guess what? There are a lot of running backs that have good size that end up busting out anyways. And so you just have, I feel like sometimes we associate bust with size. Or like Bryce Young. We go, oh my goodness, 5'10", 200 pounds. He's not going to be able to make it in the NFL. I mean, Kyler Murray was able to make it in the NFL until he hurt his knee. And I mean, that was a non-contact injury. He didn't even get contacted. It wasn't like he got absolutely blown up through that injury. And we've seen other shorter quarterbacks succeed, Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. And we've also seen perfect-sized quarterbacks fail and get destroyed. Brock Osweiler was the quarterback that everyone was goo gagaing because I think he was like, 6'7", and just amazing like frame and everything like that. And he's absolutely sucks. I think he's been cut by like the XFL and the CFL and everything. So don't be too harsh on size and weight. I don't know where that even came from. That is, I guess, maybe deep down, I guess I had that in me to complain about. Don't be so harsh on weight and size. Sometimes you just got to go with the talent, and you never know. I mean, we see it in every sport. We really do. We see it in almost every sport where you're like, oh, this person's undersized, so we don't believe in him. And then all of a sudden they end up being better than the player that was the right size, but not as talented. Take the people that are actually talented, and they'll figure out their size. If they are that elite in their talents or throwing and abilities and stuff like that, then they'll figure it out. Now, I will say I was on the VR with one of my friends, and I was playing Madden, and it was extremely difficult with my 5'9" height to look 5'9" 3/4", so I'm about Bryce Young's height. It was extremely hard, it looked like, to see behind the offensive lineman. I don't know if it was actually true my height, but man, it would be tough to be quarterback. I feel like I would get destroyed, but I'm also not 200 pounds, so that's also a factor. And I'm also not Bryce Young. All right, so this is Marcus Dynasty with Dads. Peace out. I hope you got a bit of value. We kind of rambled on quite a bit there, so we'll see you again soon. Peace out. Take care.